There is a tragedy that unfolds every single day, in every city, in every town, on every street of this great nation. It is not the tragedy of war, though that is a scar on the face of humanity. It is not the tragedy of poverty, though that is a problem we must solve. It is not the tragedy of sickness, though that too is a prevalent and terrible foe. No, the greatest tragedy of the modern age is silent. It is invisible. It walks among us, wearing a business suit, or the uniform of a laborer. It sits at the dinner table, and it looks back at you in the mirror. It is the tragedy of the drifter, the man or the woman who walks through life without definite purpose, without personal power, and without inner peace. This is the man who lives by default. He is a ship without a rudder, tossed to and fro by the waves of circumstance, a puppet pulled by the strings of his environment, his habits, and the opinions of others. A wise man once observed that most men walk through life as if they are alone. Think about that for a moment. Not just alone in the world, but alone within themselves. They are the great unawakened majority. They chase power, but they feel powerless. They spend their entire lives accumulating titles, wealth, and authority over others, only to find themselves, in the quiet moments of the night, utterly terrified and weak. They cannot command their own minds, so they seek to command the lives of others. They seek guidance, but they walk without direction. They read the books, they listen to the sermons, they ask their friends, their family, their horoscopes, "What should I do? Where should I go? Is this the right path?" They are forever asking for a map, while the compass has already been placed inside their very soul. They pray with their mouths, but doubt in their minds. They perform the rituals of faith. They speak the words of affirmation, but their actions betray their true belief. Their actions scream fear. Their actions whisper doubt. Their actions demonstrate scarcity. And the reason for this paralysis, this great human tragedy of drifting, is simple. It is not complex. It is a single, catastrophic failure. They have forgotten. They have forgotten what lies within them, not beside them, not above them in the clouds, not far off in some distant future. Within, they have forgotten that there is a presence that lives in them, a flame so ancient, so intelligent, so perfectly designed to express through them that if they truly, deeply understood what it meant to carry it, they would never, ever question their next step again. This is the power I have chosen to call infinite intelligence. This is the mind of God. This is the source from which all genius flows. This is the power that built the mountains, that parted the seas, that shaped civilizations. It is the intelligence that turns a tiny, insignificant acorn into a mighty, sprawling oak tree. And that exact same force, that same organizing, creative, omnipotent power was placed within you the moment you were born. It was not placed in you as a suggestion. It was not an idea. It was not a potential you must earn. It was placed in you as a law, as a force, as a voice that does not scream but knows. You were not meant to live as if you are empty. You were not designed to struggle forward as if the answers are always somewhere else. You are not required to beg for a strength you already possess. But you must remember, because the world, from the moment you take your first breath, will try to make you forget. Your parents, with all their love, will teach you their own limitations. Your schools will teach you to memorize, not to think. They will teach you to follow, not to lead. Your society will teach you to wait for signs, to pray for a rescue, to earn the right to be guided. Your senses, your eyes, your ears will report to you only the facts of your current, limited reality. They will show you the empty bank account. They will echo the words of the critic. They will remind you of your past failures. And so, surrounded by this conspiracy of limitation, you begin to drift. Let us dissect this drifter. Let us put him on the operating table and see what makes him tick. For if you can recognize these traits in yourself, you hold the key to your own liberation. The first and primary characteristic of the drifter is indecision. He is a man of maybes and tomorrows. He lives in a mental fog, a no man's land between I want to and I will. He refuses to plant a flag. He refuses to make a definite decision about what he wants, who he is, and what he will stand for. He mistakes this indecision for keeping his options open. But in reality, he is a prisoner of all options and a master of none. The man who delays action, who waits for all the lights to be green, who says I'm not ready, is a man who has already disqualified himself. He is hypnotizing himself into failure, one maybe at a time. Why does he do this? Why does he hesitate? This brings us to the second and more monstrous characteristic of the drifter. He is a living host, a willing servant to the 6 ghosts of fear. Because he is disconnected from the infinite intelligence within, he believes he is alone, and a man who believes he is alone is prey to everything. He is haunted by the fear of poverty. This is the ghost that whispers, "Be careful. Don't take that risk. What if you lose it all?" A safe salary is better than a grand vision. This fear forces him to trade his destiny for a paycheck. He settles. He shrinks. He sells his birthright for a bowl of soup, all because he has forgotten that the same power that created all wealth is inside of him, waiting to be directed. He is haunted by the fear of criticism. This is the ghost that paralyzes his tongue. What will they think? What if they laugh? What if they misunderstand you? Who do you think you are? I have watched this ghost murder more brilliant ideas than any other force on earth. I have seen it turn lions into lambs. I watched the drifter in the meeting. He has the idea. He knows the solution. You can see it burning in his eyes. But he waits. He looks at the face of his superior. He glances at the skeptic across the table. And the moment passes. He swallows his genius. He protects himself. And in doing so, he betrays the very power that gave him the idea. He is haunted by the fears of ill health, of the loss of love, of old age, and of death. He spends so much time trying not to lose that he never has any energy left to win. The tragedy is not that most people are weak. The tragedy is that they do not know who is living in them. And so they shrink. They settle. They follow. They mimic. They drift. And all the while they are complaining about their bad luck, all the while they are pointing fingers at their unfair boss or the bad economy, they carry the power that built mountains. They carry the power that parted seas. They carry the power that shaped civilizations. And it lies dormant, unclaimed. This is the drifter. This is the man who walks, as the sage said, as if he is alone. This drifting manifests in his very presence. When the drifter walks into a room, he flinches. He hesitates. He looks around, not to command the room, but to read it. He is searching for cues on how to behave, what to say, who to be. He watches others before deciding what he will be. He responds to pressure instead of applying it. He follows a path made for someone else. His voice is weak. He over-explains. He apologizes for his very presence. He says, "I'm sorry, I just have one quick idea." He seeks permission to exist, to build, to believe. He looks in the mirror, not for vision, but for validation. He asks weak questions. Am I ready? What if I'm wrong? What if they think I'm too much? Who do I think I am? And that is the moment he has lost, not because the world is against him, but because he has stepped out of alignment with what lives inside him. He has forgotten. He has traded his fire for fog. This, my friends, is the diagnosis. This is the great tragedy. This is the life of 98 out of every 100 people. But I am not here today to speak only of the tragedy. I am here to deliver the cure. The cure is not found in a new book. It is not found in a new pill. It is not found in a government program. The cure begins with a single, thunderous, life-altering decision. It is the decision to stop drifting. It is the decision to remember. You do not need to summon this power. You do not need to create it. You need only to align with it. And the first alignment, The first step out of the fog is this. You must learn to ACT as if God, infinite intelligence, is within you, because He is. Not when you're perfect, not when you feel holy, not when the world agrees with you, but right now, even in your doubt, even in your weakness, even in your silence, because that presence does not appear when you are ready. It appears when you remember, and remembering isn't emotional. It's not a feeling. It is a decision. And once you make that decision, you do not walk the same again. You do not speak the same again. You do not live the same again. Because now you walk as a man who knows, I carry the divine, and I act accordingly. To act as if is not to pretend. It is not an exercise in empty ego or false confidence. It is a recalibration of everything. Your thinking, your discipline, your posture, your language, your pace, your presence. It is a conscious choice to stop behaving like a man who is lost and begin walking like a man who is already found. When you carry the divine within, you are not asking, will I be guided? You are guided. You are not hoping to be protected. You are protection in motion. You are not waiting for wisdom. You are moving with it, embodied. This means you no longer speak with fear behind your words. You no longer move with apology in your footsteps. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer ask the world for a validation that was already written into your soul by infinite intelligence. This is the secret that separates the drifter from the driver. It is the secret of all personal power. It is the secret that has been forgotten. The drifter waits to feel ready. The driver decides he is ready, and the feeling follows. The drifter waits for proof. The driver acts, and his action becomes the proof. The drifter waits for instructions from the outside. The driver listens to the inside and moves. So I ask you, as we begin this journey together today, who are you? Have your actions caught up with your identity? Do your habits reflect what you say you carry? Does your tone, your pace, your discipline show the world that you are not alone when you walk? Because the ones who carry the divine do not need to announce it. Their witness speaks louder than any words. Today, you have been reminded of the truth. The tragedy of the drifter is curable. The power you have been begging for has been inside you all along. The question is no longer, what do I do? The question is, when will I begin? When will you stop acting as if you are empty and start behaving like the vessel of infinite intelligence that you were born to be? That journey, the real journey, begins now. And in the chapters that follow, we will lay down the precise, practical, scientific steps to how. Let me state a fact that will form the foundation of your entire future, should you choose to accept it. It is a fact that, once understood and embraced, will make the drifter mentality impossible to maintain. You are not merely a product of your physical environment. You are not just a collection of cells and impulses, an accident of biology. You are not a ship cut loose on a dark ocean, hoping to find a friendly shore by chance. This is the lie that the drifter believes. It is the lie that keeps him small and fearful and indecisive. The truth is infinitely more profound. The truth is this: inside of you, living in you at this very moment, breathing through you, is a presence, a silent partner, a force so ancient, so intelligent, so perfectly designed that if you truly understood what it meant to carry it, you would never question your next step again. You would never again feel powerless. You would never again believe you were alone. I call this presence infinite intelligence. You may call it God. You may call it the universe. You may call it the subconscious mind or the oversoul. The name is irrelevant. The labels of men do not change the nature of the law. What matters is that you understand what it is and accept that it is your birthright. This is the intelligence that holds the planets in their perfect, unfailing orbits. This is the mind that designed the intricate mathematical beauty of a snowflake. This is the force that turns a tiny, buried acorn, a thing that appears dead and worthless, into a mighty oak tree, pushing aside tons of earth and rising defiantly toward the sky. That acorn does not struggle. It does not guess how to become a tree. It does not hope it will find the right plan. The entire blueprint of the oak tree is already contained within it. It is an organized, intelligent, knowing force. And that exact same force, not a part of it, not a lesser version of it, but that same omniscient, omnipotent organizing power was placed within you the moment you were born. It was not placed in you as an idea. It was not a hope. It was not a potential that you must one day earn through good deeds or hard struggle. It was placed in you as a fundamental law of your being. The tragedy we spoke of, the tragedy of the drifter, is not that most people are weak. The tragedy is that they do not know who is living in them. They have been taught from birth to believe they are the acorn and to forget the oak tree that sleeps inside. And so they shrink, they settle, they mimic, they drift. They live and die as acorns, all the while carrying the power that built the mountains, parted the seas, and shaped civilizations. They carry this power, and yet they wait. They wait to be claimed by some outside force. They wait for a sign. They wait for permission. They wait for someone to come and tell them that they are powerful. You were not meant to live as if you are empty. You were not designed to struggle forward, begging for the strength you already possess. This is the illusion. This is the fog of the drifter. You are not required to beg for wisdom. You are designed to channel it. You are not required to seek power. You are designed to express it. But you must remember, you must reawaken to this truth, because the world, as we discussed, will try by every means necessary to make you forget. The world will teach you to trust only your five senses. Your eyes will show you your empty bank account. Your ears will hear the criticism of your neighbors. Your hands will feel the weight of your past failures. And your senses, reporting only these facts, will scream to you that you are limited, that you are small, that you are the drifter. But your five senses are magnificent liars. They are reporters of effects, not causes. They report the past. They report what has been. They can never, ever report what can be. The drifter lives his entire life as a slave to his five senses. He believes what he sees, and so he never sees anything new. The man of power, the man who is awakening, understands that this infinite intelligence within him is the cause. His senses are merely the result. He does not let the world tell him who he is. He tells the world who he is by the power of his alignment with this inner force. Where is the proof, you ask? The drifter always demands proof from the outside. Look around you. Proof is the only thing there is. You cannot look at the order of the cosmos, from the migration of birds to the intricate design of your own DNA, and call it chance. Order is the first law of the universe, and where there is order, there must be intelligence. But look closer. Look at the history of human achievement. Where did the genius of the great inventors come from? Where did Edison get the flash of insight for the incandescent light? Where did the great composers hear the symphonies that they merely wrote down? Where did Shakespeare find the words that defined a language? They tuned in. They quieted their conscious, fearful drifter mind, and they listened to the other mind, the mind that knows. They tapped into the great storehouse of infinite intelligence. They did not invent these things, they received them. This intelligence is not some far-off entity. It is the very essence of your own deeper mind. Your subconscious mind is your personal connection point to this infinite field. It is the soil in which the acorn of your thought is planted. And this intelligence does not debate. It does not argue. It simply accepts what you give it and acts upon it. This is the key. This is the terrifying and beautiful secret of your power. For this great all-powerful force is entirely impersonal. It is a law. Like the law of electricity, it has no morals. It does not care if you are a good man or a bad man. It will work for anyone who understands how to use it. Electricity will light a hospital, or it will execute a criminal. It is not the fault of the electricity. It is the direction given by the man. Infinite intelligence operates in precisely the same way. It is waiting, right now, to receive its instructions from you. And what are its instructions? Your dominant thoughts, your burning desires, your unshakable faith. The drifter, not knowing this law, instructs this power by default. His dominant thoughts are of fear, doubt, and indecision. He fears poverty, so he impresses the image of poverty upon this creative force. And the law, in its perfect obedience, delivers to him the circumstances of poverty. He fears criticism, so he instructs this power to make him shrink, to make him invisible, to make him agreeable. And the law delivers to him a life of mediocrity, a life lived in the shadow of other men's opinions. He has used the very power of God to create a life of hell, and he does not even know he is the one doing it. This is the tragedy. This is the man who carries a stick of dynamite but uses it as a paperweight. This is the man who lives in a dark room, begging for light, not knowing that the switch is in his own hand. The tragedy is that he does not know who is living in him. He thinks he is the small, fearful, conscious mind. He has forgotten that he is the vessel for the infinite. So, let us state this as the foundational principle upon which all success is built. You are a dual being. You are the conscious mind that thinks and directs, and you are the subconscious, infinite mind that creates and obeys. You are the captain of the ship, and you are the all-powerful engine room. The drifter has abandoned the helm. He has let his ship be tossed by the waves of fear. He has let the engine run wild, or not at all. Today, you take back the wheel. Today, you remember who you are. You are not the empty vessel you were taught to believe. You are the vessel, yes, but you are a vessel filled with the mind of God. You are a channel for the same power that built the stars. You are not alone. You cannot be alone. You do not need to beg for this strength. You do not need to wait for it. You do not need to summon it as if it is far away. You need only to align with it. You need only to stop doing the things that block it. You must clear the channel. And what blocks it? Fear, doubt, indecision, the very habits of the drifter. This entire journey, gentlemen, is not about gaining power. It is about shedding the lifetime of debris that has covered it up. It is about remembering the truth you were born with before the world taught you to forget. And that alignment, that remembering, begins with a single conscious choice. It begins with the principle we will explore next, the decision to act as if. We have diagnosed the malady. We have given it a name. It is the drifter. It is the man who lives in a fog of indecision, haunted by the 6 ghosts of fear, a stranger to the power that lies dormant within his very soul. We have established the truth, the foundational law upon which all reality is built, that you are not alone, that you are not empty. You are a vessel, a magnificent and holy vessel, for the same infinite intelligence that created the cosmos. This is not a theory. This is a fact. But I hear the question in your mind. It is the practical question of the man who is ready to awaken. Mr. Hill, I hear you. I want to believe this, but I do not feel it. My senses, my reality, my bank account, my critics, they all tell me a different story. I am still the Dr. Drifter. How do I begin? What is the first practical, tangible step I must take to bridge the chasm between the man I am and the man I was born to be? This is the most important question a human being can ask. And the answer is the key that unlocks every other principle of success. You do not need to summon this power from a great distance. You need only to align with it. And that first critical life-altering alignment is this. You must learn to act as if infinite intelligence is within you. You must begin to behave in accordance with this higher truth, because it is the truth. Now, let us be perfectly clear. When I say act as if, I am not speaking of pretending. This is not an exercise in empty ego. This is not faking it till you make it in the superficial way the drifter understands it. The drifter pretends to be something he is not to impress other people. That is arrogance. That is the noise of the small self. Arrogance is a mask worn to hide weakness. We are not interested in masks. We are interested in truth. To act as if is not to pretend. It is a recalibration of everything. It is a conscious choice, a decision of the will, to stop behaving like a man who is lost and begin walking, talking, thinking, and being the man who is already guided. It is not an act for an external audience. It is a declaration to your own subconscious mind. It is an act of embodiment. Let me explain the psychology of this, for it is the very mechanism of faith. Your subconscious mind, that great silent partner that connects you to infinite intelligence, does not think in logic. It thinks in pictures and feelings. It cannot tell the difference between an experience that really happened and an experience that you have acted out with profound conviction. The drifter, by default, is acting as if he is weak, poor, and fearful. He acts indecisive. He acts afraid of criticism, and his subconscious mind, in its perfect obedience, accepts these actions as its instructions and proceeds to create a life that matches that behavior. You have been programming yourself for failure by default. The act as if principle is the decision to take your hands back on the wheel. It is the act of conscious, deliberate programming. So, how do we begin? It begins inside. It is a choice to stop behaving like a man who is lost and begin walking like a man who is already found. Because when you truly know, not hope, not wish, but know that you carry the divine, your entire reality shifts. You stop asking, will I be guided? You know you are guided. You stop hoping to be protected. You become protection in motion. You stop waiting for wisdom. You move with it, embodied. This means first that you do not speak with fear behind your words. Listen to the way the drifter talks. His voice is hesitant. He apologizes for his ideas. I'm sorry. This might be a stupid question. But he has disqualified his own thought before it has even left his mouth. The man who acts as if speaks with a new authority, not volume. A loud voice is often a sign of a weak argument. I speak of weight, of certainty. His words are deliberate. He means what he says, and he says what he means. He does not over-explain. He does not seek to justify his own existence. He speaks from a place of knowing, not a place of needing approval. Second, you do not move with apology in your footsteps. Watch the drifter walk into a room. He shrinks. He looks to the ground. His posture is a physical apology for taking up space. The man who acts as if walks differently. His shoulders are back. His chin is up. Not in arrogance, but in awareness. He knows he is not alone. He walks with a deliberate pace. He is not rushing in fear, and he is not stalling in indecision. He moves with the calm, steady rhythm of a man who knows his destination. This physical shift is not just for others. It is for you. Your own body sends a signal back to your mind. The posture of confidence instructs your subconscious to release the chemistry of confidence. You are embodying the new identity. This leads to the third change. You no longer seek permission to exist. The drifter's entire life is a search for validation from the outside world. He seeks permission to build his business, permission to speak his truth, permission to believe in his own vision. The man who acts as if is his own permission. He does not ask the world for a validation that was already written into his soul by infinite intelligence. He does not need others to understand his urgency. He does not need external support to walk in his divine rhythm. He does not ask the mirror, am I enough? Because he knows he carries the answer inside the question. This is the great recalibration. Your thinking changes. You stop betraying yourself. The drifter is a man of constant self-betrayal. He gets the flash of insight, the instruction from the infinite, and then he negotiates with it. He says, "Is this the right time? Am I really ready? Maybe I should wait for one more sign." The man who acts as if stops this negotiation. When clarity arrives, he acts. He does not delay action when the instruction has been given. He knows that hesitation is the voice of fear, and he is no longer taking orders from that ghost. He no longer says, "I am not ready," because he understands at a soul-deep level that readiness is not a condition you wait for. Readiness is a decision you make. This act-as-if principle is the decision. It is the physical, tangible proof of your faith. Faith is not a passive emotional state. Faith is not sitting in a chair and hoping for $1 million. Faith is proven by motion. Acting as if is faith in motion. It is the conscious, deliberate movement towards the vision before the five senses have confirmed it. You act like the man who has the success. You behave like the man who has the wisdom. You make decisions like the man who has the power. And in doing so, you are sending the clearest possible instruction to your subconscious mind. You are giving it the blueprint. You are telling it, this is who we are now. And that great, powerful, obedient servant has no choice but to say, "Yes, sir," and begin to rearrange your world to match the new instruction. This is why your posture changes. This is why your pace slows. This is why you pray less like a beggar and more like a partner. The drifter's prayer is one of desperation. Please show me. Please give me. Please rescue me. The prayer of the man who acts as if is one of partnership and gratitude. It becomes, "Thank you for the wisdom I already possess. Now, guide my hands as I express it. Thank you for the strength that is in me. Now, direct me to the task through which it will be revealed." You stop begging for a sign. You become the sign. To act as if God is within you means you finally, at long last, stop apologizing for your calling. You stop shrinking to make small-minded people comfortable. This is a profound change. You will begin to protect your energy. This is not selfish. It is sacred. When you carry something holy, you do not store it in a dirty room. You guard the gate. To act as if means you no longer negotiate with doubt. You no longer entertain voices that mock vision. You no longer apologize for your fire. You are the fire. You are the embodiment of the truth. And let me tell you, when you begin to walk this way, the world will test you. The old ghosts will come knocking. The critics will get louder. Circumstances will challenge your new posture. They are testing you to see if you mean it. They are asking, "Are you just pretending, or have you recalibrated?" And you will prove it not with your words, but with your consistency. You will prove it with your calm. You will prove it by not shrinking. You will prove it by acting when the old you would have hesitated. You will act before you feel ready. You will speak while your voice trembles. You will move while your hands shake. Because you know that the readiness, the confidence, the power, it is not the prerequisite for the action. It is the reward of the action. You move first, and the power meets you in the motion. This is the law. You act as if you are guided, and in the act, the guidance comes. You act as if you are strong, and in the act, the strength flows. This is the great secret. You are not waiting for power. Power is waiting for you to act. This is the principle. This is the path. This is the choice that separates the drifter from the driver. This is how you begin. Now, many of you will hear this. You will hear the call to act as if. You will understand the logic of recalibration. But in the cold light of day, a question will rise in your mind. A practical and honest question that must be answered. You will say, "But I am afraid. I do feel weak. My senses, my eyes, my ears report to me a reality of lack and limitation. The bills are on the table. The critics are loud. How do I act as if I am guided when I feel so utterly lost? How do I bridge this chasm between the truth you speak of and the facts I see?" This is the great question, and the answer to it is the very key to self-mastery. The answer lies in the greatest, most practical, and most dangerously powerful psychological tool ever discovered. It is the mechanism by which the drifter creates his prison, and it is the same mechanism by which the master builds his empire. This mechanism is called autosuggestion. Let me be precise. Autosuggestion, or self-suggestion, is the bridge. It is the only pathway by which your conscious, thinking mind can communicate with and direct your subconscious mind. And as we have established, your subconscious mind is your personal connection point to infinite intelligence. Your subconscious mind is the engine room of your life. It is the fertile soil. Your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. It is the gardener who chooses the seeds. This subconscious, this silent partner, is the power that beats your heart while you sleep and heals your body without your conscious effort. It is a giant of limitless power, but it has one profound characteristic. It does not think, it does not reason, it does not debate. It simply accepts and acts. It is a servant. It accepts as truth any idea, any plan, any thought that is fed to it by the conscious mind, especially when that idea is saturated with emotion and faith. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real, physical experience and an idea that is fed to it with deep, profound feeling. This is the secret. This is the source of all human tragedy and all human triumph. The drifter, the man we spoke of who lives in the fog, is already a master of autosuggestion. He simply uses it to destroy himself. He does not do it on purpose. He does it by default. When he hears a critic say, "You will fail," his conscious mind, the lazy watchman, allows that seed to pass. He feels the sting of that criticism, and that feeling impresses the idea of failure upon his subconscious. The subconscious says, "Very well, the master desires failure," and it begins to orchestrate the circumstances, the bad luck, the poor decisions that will produce that failure. When the drifter looks at his empty bank account, he feels the emotion of lack. That feeling is a powerful autosuggestion. He is commanding his subconscious to produce more of this lack. And the servant obeys perfectly. Most men live their entire lives hypnotizing themselves into failure. They are commanding the God power within them to keep them small, to keep them poor, and to keep them afraid. And that power, that impersonal, obedient law, says yes. But the man who awakens, the man who decides to act as if, reverses this process. If this mechanism works for failure, it must work for success. This is a law. It has no preference. It will build a temple of success just as readily as it builds a prison of fear. But it must be given a new blueprint. It must be given new commands. This is where the act-as-if principle becomes your primary tool. You cannot lie to your subconscious. You cannot stand in the mirror and say, "I am wealthy," while feeling poor. The subconscious does not listen to your words. It listens to your feeling. It listens to your conviction. So, how do you generate the feeling of wealth when your senses deny it? You act as if. The act-as-if principle is not for other people. It is for you. When you pull your shoulders back and walk with a new posture, you are not pretending to be confident. You are generating the physical sensation of confidence. When you speak deliberately, with weight, you are generating the feeling of authority. You are creating the emotional fuel, the feeling, first. Then, you take that feeling and you attach it to your new command, your new autosuggestion. This is the process. You deliberately declare, silently or aloud, in your own private moments, "I am a vessel for infinite intelligence. I am guided. I am sufficient for this task. I am calm. I am powerful." You do not say this once and hope. That is wishing. That is the drifter's game. No. You say it, and you feel it. You recall the feeling your act-as-if posture gave you. You combine the word, the command, with the emotion, the fuel, and you repeat it. You repeat it night and morning. You repeat it until it becomes a lullaby. You say it until you believe it. This is not positive thinking. Positive thinking is a thin veneer, a coat of paint on a rotten structure. It is wishing. This is mental programming. This is the work of building. You are building a new belief inside your own mind. You are building a mental furnace. You are feeding it with the fuel of this new conviction, day after day, until the fire of this new belief becomes so hot that it incinerates all doubt, all fear, all memory of the draster you used to be. At first, it will feel like an act. There will be a war in your mind. Your senses will scream, "Liar! Look at the bills! Your old habits will pull at you." This is the critical moment. This is the battle. The drifter stops here. He says, "It feels fake. It isn't working." And he quits, surrendering his mind back to the default programming of the world. The master persists. He knows the seed has been planted. He does not dig it up every 5 minutes to check its progress. He knows the law is at work. He continues to act as if. He continues to feed his mind with the new command. And then, one day, something magnificent happens. You will wake up and you will act as if, not because you have to, but because it is who you are. The auto-suggestion will no longer be a command you are giving. It will be a truth you are affirming. The feeling will no longer be something you must generate. It will be your natural state. This is the moment belief is born. Belief is not a hope. It is not an emotion. It is a calm, deep, unshakable knowing. It is a state of mind where you are so certain of your success, so aligned with infinite intelligence, that the outcome is no longer in question. It is a done deal. You have successfully impressed your blueprint upon the subconscious. You have become the man who is guided. You have become the man of power. And once that belief is formed, your behavior must follow. Your subconscious mind will now compel you to take the right actions. It will feed you the right ideas. It will open the right doors. Your acting has become your reality. You have hypnotized yourself into success. This is the mechanism. This is the how. It is simple, but it is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires persistence. It requires you to be the watchman at the gate, to choose this day what seeds you will plant in the most powerful, fertile, and divine garden in the universe, your own mind. We have now laid the foundation. You understand the power that lives within you. You understand the principle of acting as if. And you now hold the mechanism of autosuggestion, the very tool to build a new belief. But let me be clear. Knowledge that is not applied is merely static. It is a seed left in the bag. This is not a lecture hall. This is a workshop, a foundry, for the construction of your new life. The principles that follow are the steel framework of your success. We are about to discuss how to protect this new belief, how to conquer the enemies that will assault it, and how to amplify your power beyond your wildest imagination. If you are committed to this construction, if you are truly deciding to leave the drifter behind, then you must align your environment. Your first act of alignment is to subscribe to this channel. This is your new mastermind. This is your declaration that you will no longer drift alone. Click that subscribe button now. Join this fellowship of builders. Now, let us continue. For now that you have planted this sacred seed, you must learn to protect the gate. When you begin this process, when you make the profound decision to act as if, when you begin the sacred work of reprogramming your own mind through autosuggestion, you have lit a fire. You have planted a seed in the garden of your subconscious. But this new, fragile flame, this tiny, emerging seedling, is now at its most vulnerable. You have declared your intention to infinite intelligence, but you are still living in a world programmed by the drifter. You cannot build a new temple of success while still living in the wreckage of your old habits. You cannot host the divine in a crowded, filthy, and undefended house. Therefore, the principle that must immediately follow your decision to act as if is the most practical and perhaps the most difficult of all. It is the principle of protecting the gate. Your mind is a sacred vessel. We have established this. It is the meeting place between the finite and the infinite. It is the holiest of holies. If you were entrusted with the most priceless, flawless diamond on earth, would you leave it on your doorstep for any passerby to steal? Would you store it in a garbage dump? Would you let children throw mud at it? Of course not. You would build a vault. You would hire guards. You would create an environment of perfect safety and respect. And yet, you carry something infinitely more precious, your connection to the mind of God, the very faculty that creates your entire reality, and you leave the gate wide open. You let thieves, vandals, and fools march right in and desecrate the temple. When you begin this new walk, you do not need to prove anything to anyone. Your need for external validation died the moment you decided to act as if, but you must, with a new and terrifying seriousness, begin to protect everything. Your new life depends on it. This protection is not passive. It is an active, moment-to-moment, conscious war. A war against the default programming of the drifter. This protection has 4 pillars. The first pillar is protecting your thinking. This is the gate itself. We have spoken of autosuggestion, which is the process of deliberately planting the seeds you want. Protecting the gate is the process of killing the weeds you don't. The drifter's mind is an unguarded field. He allows any seed, from any source, to land and take root. The seeds of fear from the nightly news. The seeds of envy from social comparison. The seeds of cynicism from his complaining coworkers. The seeds of doubt from his own past failures. His mind is a jungle of conflicting, poisonous weeds. Your new job is to become a ruthless sentinel. You must stand at the gate of your mind and interrogate every thought that seeks entry. You must ask, does this thought, this idea, this piece of information build the man I am becoming? Or does it reinforce the drifter I am leaving behind? This is not a call for ignorance. It is a call for focus. A man building a skyscraper cannot be distracted by every passing car, every barking dog, every floating cloud. He is focused on the blueprint. Your definite major purpose is your blueprint. Any thought that does not align with that blueprint is a threat. It is a thief, and you must deny it entry. This means you can no longer afford the luxury of a negative thought. You can no longer just vent. You can no longer participate in gossip, in cynical debates, in conversations that celebrate mediocrity. You must guard your ears as you guard your eyes, because what you hear becomes the raw material for what you think. The second pillar is protecting your time. This is the currency of creation. The drifter spends time. He kills time. He wastes it as if it is an infinite resource. He gives it away to anyone who asks, because his time has no purpose. It is empty. Therefore, he is a slave to the emergencies of others, a slave to his notifications, a slave to the meaningless distractions that the world provides to keep him asleep. When you align with infinite intelligence, your time becomes sacred. It is the raw material given to you to build your vision. You must begin to treat it as such. This means you must subtract. You do not need more time. You need fewer vampires. You must say no. You must say no to good things that are not your thing. You must say no to requests that do not align with your definite major purpose. No ceases to be a word of rejection and becomes a sacred tool of protection. You must carve out time for the most important work, the work of thinking, of planning, and of feeding your subconscious mind. If you do not schedule this, the world will schedule it for you. The third pillar is protecting your energy. This is the fuel for your fire. Your auto-suggestion, your act-as-if posture, requires vital force. It requires energy. The drifter is perpetually exhausted. He is tired not from productive work, but from the friction of his own inner conflict. He is drained by fear, by indecision, by the poison he puts into his own system. From this moment forward, you must see your body as the physical instrument through which this infinite power must flow. You cannot channel the divine through a sick, clogged, and weakened machine. You must eat what strengthens you. You must move in a way that energizes you. You must sleep in a way that restores you. You must treat your physical vessel with the respect it deserves. And more importantly, you must stop listening to people who drain you. This is the hardest part. You must cut ties with environments that cheapen your energy. You must walk away from the complainers, the victims, the cynics. Misery loves company. The drifter needs other drifters to validate his own drifting. When you begin to change, they will feel it. They will call you arrogant. They will call you strange. They will try to pull you back down into the fog with them. You must love them, but you must leave them. You are not protecting your ego. You are protecting your mission. The fourth and final pillar is protecting your peace. This is the atmosphere. This is the non-negotiable environment for alignment. Infinite intelligence does not shout. It does not compete with your chaos. God does not yell. He waits. He waits for the space to be cleared. The whisper of genius, the flash of insight, the knowing of the next right step, it can only be heard in stillness. The drifter's life is too loud for a whisper to survive. It is a constant barrage of noise, drama, emotional chaos, and self-inflicted emergencies. And why? Because the drifter is terrified of silence. In the silence, he would be forced to hear the truth. He would be forced to face what he has been avoiding, his own responsibility. You must do the opposite. You must crave the silence. You must create sacred stillness. You must fast, not just from food, but from noise. You must create space in your day to simply sit and listen. You do not need to add more to your life. You need to subtract what is blocking your power. You must clear the room. You must clear the mental clutter, the emotional drama, the physical chaos, so that the power that is already there can finally move, can finally speak. The clearer the room, the louder the whisper. When you begin to diligently, faithfully, and ruthlessly protect these four pillars, something magnificent begins to happen. You change. A new presence forms around you. You develop a certain spiritual quietness. You no longer feel the compulsive need to defend yourself. The drifter is always defending his fragile ego. The master knows his truth, and that is sufficient. You no longer need to explain your every move. Your actions speak for themselves. You no longer need to be loud to be effective. You realize that the loudest man in the room is not the most powerful man. He is, in fact, the most insecure. The truly powerful man is the one whose silence makes others uncomfortable, because it reminds them of the chaos in their own minds. You begin to walk in authority. This is the critical distinction. This is not the authority of ego. It is not your authority, born of title or wealth. It is the authority of alignment. It is the undeniable presence of a man who is not alone. It is not because of who you are. It is because of who walks with you. And let me tell you, gentlemen, people feel it. They will not know what it is. They cannot define it. But they respect it. They sense that your confidence doesn't come from preparation, but from possession. You are possessed not by fear, but by purpose. Not by performance, but by presence. They feel that you are not moving from a place of ego or fear or the need for popularity. They feel that you are moving from alignment. This is what it means to act as if. It is not a claim you make. It is a consistency you demonstrate. It is not a belief system you talk about. It is a behavior pattern you live. It is not words. It is witness. And that silent witness, that embodied quiet authority, will speak louder, more profoundly, and more convincingly than anything your mouth could ever say. You become the proof. That is the sacred and essential work of protecting the gate. As you begin this walk, as you commit to act as if, as you begin the diligent sacred work of reprogramming your own mind, as you stand guard and protect the gate, You must prepare yourself, for you will be met at that newly protected gate. You will face an enemy so ancient, so subtle, so cunning, that most men live and die as its prisoner without ever knowing its name. This enemy is not a person. It is not your government. It is not your boss. It is not the economy. Those are merely the shadows it casts on the wall. The true enemy is closer. It is the architect of the drifter. It is the source of the fog. The enemy is fear. In my research into the lives of over 500 of the most successful men and women this nation has ever produced, I found one common denominator. I found one battle that every single one of them had to win before they could achieve anything of lasting value. It was this battle, the battle against their own fear. Fear is not an external force. Fear is a state of mind. And you alone, control your state of mind. Fear is the default state of the drifter. It is the static that blocks the signal from infinite intelligence. It is the poison that withers the seed of your new belief before it can even sprout. This enemy is not one, but six. It is a hydra-headed monster. I call them the 6 ghosts of fear. They are called ghosts for a reason. They are not real. They are illusions. They have no substance, no power, except for the power you give them. They are phantoms of your own mind, constructs of your own default programming. But like any ghost, if you believe in them, they can haunt you. They can paralyze you. They can drive you back into the fog of drifting, just inches from your breakthrough. You must see them clearly. You must name them, expose them to the light, for that is the only way to rob them of their power. The first and most destructive of these ghosts is the fear of poverty. This is not merely the fear of being penniless. It is the fear of lack. It is the cowering, small, contracting voice that whispers, "Be careful. Don't take that risk. What if you lose what you have? A safe salary is better than a grand vision. A small, certain life is better than a large, uncertain one." This ghost is the chief architect of the drifter. It is the ghost that forces a man to trade his destiny for a paycheck. It is the ghost that makes him bury his talents in the ground, terrified of losing the one coin he was given. Look at the lives of the great majority. They are lives of quiet desperation. They are not living. They are merely not dying. They are surviving. And the force that holds them in this prison of mediocrity is this ghost, the fear of poverty. How does this connect to our truth? It is a betrayal of our truth. How can you, a man or woman who has remembered that you are a vessel for infinite intelligence, simultaneously fear lack? How can you be a partner with the source of all supply, the mind that created all wealth from nothing, and yet be terrified of an empty bank account? It is an absurdity. It is a catastrophic forgetting. The fear of poverty is a state of mental atheism. It is saying with your actions, "I do not believe. I believe more in the appearance of this bill than I do in the reality of my inner power." When you act as if, you are acting as if you are already supplied. You are knowing that the resources will meet you on the path of definite action. This ghost demands that you stop, that you wait for the resources first, and so it ensures they never arrive. You must cast it out. You must know that riches begin with a state of mind, and that you, by your alignment, have access to that state of mind now. The second ghost, and the assassin of more great ideas than any other, is the fear of criticism. This is the "what will they think" disease. They. Who are they? They are the faceless crowd, the neighbors, the family members, the skeptics, the other drifters. This ghost is the one that paralyzes your tongue. This is the ghost that makes you shrink, as we discussed. This is the voice that whispers, "Who do you think you are? What if they laugh at you? What if they misunderstand you? What if they think you're arrogant?" I have watched this ghost murder more genius than all the armies of the world. I have seen it turn lions into lambs. I watched the drifter in the meeting. He has the idea. He knows the solution. It burns in his chest. But he looks at the skeptical face of his superior. He glances at the mocking eyes of his coworker. And he swallows his genius. He protects his fragile ego. And in doing so, he betrays the infinite intelligence that gave him the idea. This ghost is the reason you must protect the gate. The opinions of other men are the most poisonous weeds that can ever land in your garden. When you are aligned with infinite intelligence, you receive your instructions from within. The only voice that matters is the whisper of the infinite. The fear of criticism is the act of placing the noise of the crowd above the signal of God. It is a form of idolatry. You are worshiping the opinions of men who are themselves lost in the fog, instead of the clear, true guidance from the source of all truth. When you act as if you are already approved. Your validation comes from the mission, not the crowd. You must be willing to be misunderstood. Every great leader, every inventor, every creator in history was first mocked. The crowd always laughs at what it does not understand. Let them laugh. Your results will be the only answer required. The third ghost is the fear of ill health. This is the fear of the body's decay. This is the mind that obsesses over every small ache, every symptom. This ghost drives a man to expect sickness. And in doing so, he creates it. We establish that your subconscious mind is the builder of your body. It is the intelligence that heals you, but it is also obedient to your dominant thoughts. When you fear illness, when you talk about illness, when you focus on illness, you are giving your subconscious mind a perfect blueprint for that illness. You are using the powerful tool of autosuggestion against yourself. You are, in effect, acting as if you are already sick. And so your faithful servant, the subconscious, proceeds to create the physical conditions to match your belief. Fear is the friction that blocks the natural, divine flow of health and vitality that is your birthright. The man who acts as if he is aligned with the infinite knows that the same intelligence that built his body knows how to heal it. His focus is not on avoiding sickness, but on expressing vitality. The fourth ghost is the fear of the loss of love. This is the fear of abandonment. This is the fear of being alone, the drifter's core illusion. This ghost is a subtle manipulator. It is the fear that causes a man to compromise his integrity. It causes him to stay in toxic environments, failing to protect the gate because he is afraid of being by himself. It causes him to not speak his truth, to not follow his definite major purpose, because he fears his partner or his friends will leave him. He trades his soul for companionship. This, again, is a betrayal of the truth. How can you fear the loss of love when you are aligned with the source of all love? True, harmonious relationships are not found by chasing and pleading. They are attracted. When you act as if you are aligned, when you become a vessel of peace, purpose, and power, you become a magnet for other high-vibration souls. You attract your mastermind. The drifter fears loss. The master attracts alignment. The fifth ghost is the fear of old age. This is the fear that time is an enemy. This is the belief that with every passing day, you are less capable, less valuable, less relevant. This ghost is a liar. It is the belief that creates the midlife crisis, the desperate, panicked attempt to cling to youth. It is the voice that whispers, "It's too late. You're too old to start that business. You're too old to change." This is a purely physical limitation, a belief that you are only a body. But you are a mind. You are a consciousness. And the mind, aligned with infinite intelligence, does not deteriorate. It matures. It expands. It gains wisdom. That power within you is timeless. It was here before the mountains, and it will be here long after. For the man of alignment, age is a blessing. It is the accumulation of experience and wisdom that makes him more effective, more powerful, more certain. He is not running out of time. He is learning to use time. And finally, the sixth ghost, the one that stands behind all the others, is the fear of death. This is the ultimate fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of annihilation. All other fears are just smaller versions of this one. The fear of poverty is the fear of a small death. The fear of criticism is the fear of social death. The fear of illness is the fear of physical decay. This ghost whispers that this is all there is. But the man who has truly, deeply remembered what lives within him, how can he fear annihilation? How can intelligence be destroyed? How can the flame be extinguished? Energy is never destroyed. It is only transferred. A man who has touched the timeless, infinite mind within himself knows he is more than a temporary arrangement of atoms. He knows he is a part of something eternal. This knowledge does not make him reckless. It makes him fearless. He is no longer afraid to live fully, because he is no longer terrified of dying. So, you stand at your gate, and these 6 ghosts are knocking. They are loud. They are your old habits. They are the programming of a lifetime. How do you defeat them? You do not fight them. You cannot fight a shadow. You only make it seem more real. You do not struggle with them. That gives them your energy. You displace them. You turn on the light. And what is the light that banishes all these ghosts? It is the opposite state of mind. The opposite of the drifter's fog of indecision is definite decision. This is the 7th principle. This is your sword. The moment you make a burning, final, definite decision about your life, your purpose, and your alignment, the ghosts vanish. They have no ground to stand on. How can the fear of criticism survive when your decision to follow your inner guidance is final? How can the fear of poverty survive when your decision to render service for a definite outcome is final? The shrinking stops when the decision is made. This is the weapon. This is your path to victory. You have made the decision. You have stepped out of the fog. You have stared down the drifter who lives in indecision. You have awakened to the profound, life-altering truth that you are a vessel for infinite intelligence. You have begun the practical, daily work of acting as if this truth is real. You are applying the science of autosuggestion to reprogram your own mind, planting the seeds of genius where the weeds of fear used to grow. You have become the sentinel, protecting the gate of your mind against the polluting influences of the world. And with your new, sharp sword of definite decision, you have faced the 6 ghosts of fear and shown them the light of your new alignment, forcing them to scatter. This is a monumental victory. You have done what 98 out of 100 men will never do. You have claimed sovereignty over your own mind. You have, in effect, built a fortress. But here is the next great secret, the one that separates personal achievement from world-changing power. A fortress, no matter how strong, can still be besieged. A single soldier, no matter how brave, can eventually grow weary. The drifter, the man you are leaving behind, is defined by one core tragic illusion, that he is alone. He believes he must fight all his battles by himself. He believes that power is a solitary pursuit. He is wrong. You cannot sustain this high vibration of alignment by yourself. You cannot achieve great power in isolation. This brings us to one of the most powerful, yet most profoundly misunderstood principles of all human achievement. It is the secret that built every great fortune, every great dynasty, every great movement in the history of mankind. It is the principle of the master mind. Let me define this with precision. A master mind is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Now, do not let the simplicity of those words deceive you. This is not a committee. This is not a team meeting. This is not your weekly social club. Those are, more often than not, gatherings of drifters, assemblies of egos, and the result of such gatherings is almost always compromise, confusion, and mediocrity. No. A mastermind is a chemical reaction. It is a spiritual alliance. Let us break it down. Coordination of knowledge and effort. The minds and the actions of the group are all pointed in the same direction. For a definite purpose, it must have a single, clear, burning objective. But the key, The alchemical ingredient that makes it all work is the spirit of harmony. When two or more minds come together in a spirit of perfect, absolute harmony, something miraculous happens. A third mind, an invisible, intangible force, is born. This third mind is the mastermind itself. This is not a metaphor, it is a fact. This third mind is not merely the sum of the individual minds. It is not 1 + 1 = 2. It is 1 + 1 = 10 or 100 or 1,000. Why? Because this third mind, created from the harmony of the individual minds, has a direct, unblocked channel to infinite intelligence. It becomes a supercharged conduit. It is a vortex through which the wisdom, the power, and the spiritual genius of the universe can flow into your world. This is where true genius comes from. This is what the transcript meant when it said, "It is not man achieving greatness. It is God expressing greatness through man. The mastermind is the mechanism for that expression. It is infinite intelligence finding a harmonious vessel large enough for a great work." Now, let us connect this to your journey. You have been protecting the gate. This is difficult, solitary work. The noise of the world is loud. The fog of the drifter's consciousness is thick. The 6 ghosts of fear are persistent. Your own old habits will fight you every step of the way. Your mastermind alliance becomes your collective shield. It is your fortress and your army. It is the environment you consciously create to make your new belief inevitable. Think of it this way. When your personal faith wavers, as it will, the collective faith of your mastermind holds you up. When the ghost of criticism knocks on your door, telling you that your idea is foolish, the unified voice of your mastermind alliance silences it with its harmonious encouragement. When the ghost of poverty whispers that you are taking too great a risk, the combined conviction of your group shouts its unshakable belief in abundance. Your mastermind is your proof. It is the physical, living, breathing evidence that you are not alone. You are no longer a single, flickering flame in a storm. You are a bonfire. This leads us to a profound law of physics and metaphysics. As you have been acting as if and holding this new vibration of purpose, you have literally changed your own magnetic frequency. Like a tuning fork, you are now vibrating at a new, higher, clearer note. And by the law of attraction, you will immediately begin to do 2 things. You will attract other minds, other people who are resonating at that same frequency. And just as powerfully, you will repel those who are not. This is the great sorting. The drifter is terrified of this. He fears the loss of love, one of the 6 ghosts. He clings to old, toxic, disharmonious relationships because he is afraid of being alone. He fails to protect the gate because he doesn't want to offend his cynical, energy-draining friends. The master understands this sorting is a blessing. He welcomes it. He knows he must make room. This is the principle from the transcript, stated plainly. You cannot host the divine in a crowded house. The crowded house is not just your own mind, cluttered with fear. It is your life, cluttered with disharmonious people. Your life is too loud for the whisper of genius to survive. And the loudest, most dangerous noise is the static of conflicting, critical, fearful human minds. You cannot hear the signal from infinite intelligence if you are spending your time in a room full of people who are mocking the signal. So, how do you build this alliance? First, you must have your own definite major purpose. This is the blueprint you show them. You cannot attract the right partners if you have no destination. Second, you must choose them with extreme care. You are looking for character, for loyalty, for dependability, and above all, for a willingness to enter into a spirit of harmony. You are not looking for the loudest man in the room. You are looking for the man who listens. You are looking for the man whose presence is aligned with his purpose. You are looking for people who are also protecting the gate. Why do most of the drifter's alliances fail? Why are his meetings a waste of time? Because they are gatherings of egos. They lack the one essential ingredient, harmony. They are rooms filled with fear, jealousy, competition, and suspicion. Each person is there to get something, to prove they are the smartest one at the table. In such an environment, the third mind cannot be born. Infinite intelligence will not enter a room filled with the static of warring egos. The master understands the law. He enters an alliance not to get, but to give his full energy, his full faith, his full cooperation, knowing that the law of the third mind will return to him more power and wisdom than he could ever generate alone. This alliance must be maintained. The third mind is a living battery. It must be charged. You must meet with your mastermind partners regularly. You must speak with absolute frankness and honesty. You must protect the harmony of the group as fiercely as you protect your own gate. The moment ego, criticism, or disharmony enters, the third mind dissolves. The power is gone. This, then, is the ultimate expression of the truth we began with. The drifter feels alone, so he is alone, tossed on the waves of circumstance. The master knows he is a vessel for the infinite, and therefore he consciously creates the human, harmonious channels through which that power can do its greatest work. He stops trying to do it all himself. He stops waiting for a rescue. He becomes the architect of his own powerful, harmonious world. Look at any great achievement. It was never the product of a single mind. Behind every great industrialist, every great inventor, every great leader, there stood a mastermind alliance. They may not have used that name, but they were practicing the principle. This is your task: to stop walking alone, to clear the room of the voices that drain you, and to magnetize the voices that will build with you. To understand that true power is not individual. It is harmonious. When you are aligned with your purpose, and you are in harmony with other aligned minds, you are no longer just a man. You are a movement. You are an instrument. You are the living, breathing proof that God does not wait on potential. He flows through availability, and he flows most powerfully through harmony. Once you are aligned, once your mind is fortified, once your new identity, born of acting as if and tempered by autosuggestion, has become your default, once you have learned to protect the gate and stand fearless before the six ghosts, and once you have amplified your power by forming a harmonious mastermind, something remarkable, something inevitable begins to happen. The power that you have been so diligently aligning with must now express itself. This is the purpose of the alignment. This is the point of the entire journey. Infinite intelligence is not a static force. It is not a stagnant pool of water. It is a river. It is a creative, dynamic, moving force. It does not reside in you like a statue in a temple to be admired. It lives in you to move through you. It seeks an outlet. It must create. It must build. It must express itself in the physical world. And it requires a vessel. It needs a mind to think through. It needs a mouth to speak through. It needs a pair of hands to build through. And if you, having done all this work of alignment, will not offer yours, it will move to the one who will, because this is a fundamental law. The divine does not wait on potential. It flows through availability. You have made yourself available. You have cleared the channel. You have quieted the static. And so, the expression begins. You will begin to feel thoughts that did not come from your own study. You will receive ideas that carry a weight, a certainty, a rightness that your own limited logical mind could never have produced. You will find yourself in a conversation, and words will arrive. Words of wisdom, words of power, words of perfect clarity that arrive faster than your own mind can prepare. You will look at your hands as they build, or write, or create, and you will feel as though you are a witness to the act, not the originator of it. This is the flash of genius. This is inspiration. This is the whisper of infinite intelligence, no longer a faint echo, but a clear, directive voice. And this, my friends, is the moment of greatest peril. This is the final, most subtle, and most dangerous test of the drifter's soul. This is the moment when the I, the ego, the small self that you have been working so hard to overcome, sees this magnificent power flowing through you and steps forward to take the credit. This is the moment the ego, the I, puffs out its chest and says, "Look at what I have done. Look at my brilliant idea. Look at my genius. Look at my success." This is the I that must die. Why is this so dangerous? Because the I, the ego, is the very antithesis of alignment. The ego is the personification of the 6 ghosts of fear. It is the part of you that needs validation. It is the part of you that fears criticism. It is the part of you that competes with other men. It is the part of you that believes it is separate and alone. The ego is the ultimate drifter, and when it steps forward to claim the glory of the infinite, it is an act of profound disharmony. It is the loudest, most jarring piece of static you can possibly create. It is the ultimate act of failing to protect the gate. You have just allowed the greatest thief of all, your own small self, to enter the temple and profane it. And, in that moment, you sever the source. This is not a punishment. Infinite intelligence is not a petty god that strikes you down for your arrogance. It is physics. It is law. The channel for this power is harmony. The channel is humility. The channel is alignment. The ego is, by its very nature, disharmony. It is the clog. The power cannot flow through a vessel that is claiming to be the source. The river cannot flow through a pipe that is blocked. And so, the flow recedes, the whisper goes silent, the genius disappears, and you are left alone once again, in the fog, wondering where the magic went, not realizing that you are the one who shut the door. If you try to own the power, you lose the power. This is the paradox. So, what is the alternative? What is the death of the I? It is not an act of annihilation. It is a role change. It is the most liberating, powerful, and peaceful decision you will ever make. It is the moment you graduate from being the source to being the servant of the source. It is the moment when, instead of saying, "Look what I have done," you look at your work, you feel the flow of that power, and you say, in quiet gratitude, "Use me again." When you make this shift, your entire world changes. Your role has changed. And in that new role, the old burdens of the drifter fall away. In the role of the servant, there is no pressure, only obedience. Think about this. The drifter, the ego, lives under crushing pressure. The pressure to perform, the pressure to be right. The I must have all the answers. The I must map the entire future. The I must own the outcome. It is exhausting, but the servant, the vessel, has no such pressure. The servant's only job is to keep the channel clear, to listen for the next instruction, and to obey it with definite action. The outcome is not your burden. The obedience is. The pressure is gone. In this new role, there is no competition, only a calling. The ego, the I, lives in a state of constant comparison. It is defined by the fear of criticism and the fear of poverty. It must be better than the next man. It must win at all costs. It is always looking over its shoulder. But the servant understands that the instruction he receives from the infinite is his. It is unique. It is his calling. He cannot compete with another man's calling. He can only be faithful to his own. The need to compare, to compete, to beat others. It simply dissolves. And in this new role, there is no comparison, only clarity. The ego is always asking, am I doing enough? Am I as good as him? Am I worthy? The servant's questions are different. The servant only asks, am I available? Am I listening? Is the signal clear? This brings us to the great shift in identity. You stop asking the ego's question, am I worthy? The I is never worthy of this power. It is too small. You start asking the servant's question, am I available? Available means, is my mind quiet? Have I protected the gate? Available means, is my environment harmonious? Have I built my mastermind? Available means, is my ego out of the way? Am I willing to be the instrument? And when you make this death of the I your daily practice, you become what the transcript called a walking instrument of intelligence, order, and power. This is the true authority. This is the presence we spoke of. It is not loud. It is not showy. It is not self-important. Those are the death rattles of the ego. No, this presence is steady. It is certain. It is aligned. It is a presence so grounded, so real, that your very silence starts to change rooms. The drifter was terrified of silence. The master, the servant, is the silence. And in that stillness, the power of God is finally free to move. You will begin to sense timing. You will say yes when the moment is ripe and no without guilt, because your decision is not based on your preference, but on alignment. You will stop guessing. You will be tuned. You may not always feel holy. You may not always feel ready, but that does not matter, because infinite intelligence does not wait for your mood to match your mission. It moves through the man who shows up, the man who is available. The pressure changes. You stop trying to come up with the perfect thing to say. You stop trying to map the entire future. You stop trying to own the outcome. You are no longer the source. You are the servant of the source. And when you realize that the divine is trying to move through you, you stop performing and you start becoming. And that is when people stop seeing you and start seeing what is moving through you. They will stop seeing the I, the ego, the man, and they will start to see the witness of the power. This is the death of the I, and it is the birth of your true life. Let us now come to the final barrier. We have diagnosed the drifter. We have awakened to the truth of infinite intelligence. We have learned the practical science of acting as if and reprogramming our minds with autosuggestion. We have become the sentinel, protecting the gate. We have stood firm against the 6 ghosts of fear. We have built the unstoppable power of the master mind. We have even learned to quiet the ego, to let the I die, so that the greater power may move through us. You have done all this. You have the blueprint. You hear the whisper. You have the idea. You feel the urge. The instruction from the infinite has arrived. And now, at the very threshold of your new life, you stand paralyzed. You wait. And in that waiting, you are met by the last and most insidious of all the drifter's lies. It is the quiet deception that has paralyzed millions of gifted, capable, divinely guided men and women. It is the excuse that sounds so reasonable, so wise, so prudent, that it poisons the will to act. The lie is this: I will act when I am ready. Let me speak this as plainly as my tongue can form the words. You will never feel ready to carry what you were born to carry. Why? Because readiness is an illusion. It is a feeling, and feelings are the byproducts of your past programming. Readiness is the drifter's name for the absence of all fear and all risk. Such a state does not exist in the realm of human achievement. Your calling, your definite major purpose, does not arrive at your level of comfort. It arrives at your level of obedience. And here is the truth that will set you free, or condemn you to a life of quiet desperation, based on what you do with it. Readiness is a feeling. Obedience is a decision. If you live your life according to your feelings, you will die with your potential locked inside of you. You will die as the drifter. Waiting to feel ready is to give your past, your old programming, your fears, the authority to veto your future. You are, in effect, asking the 6 ghosts of fear for permission to be free. The fear of criticism will say, "You're not ready." They will laugh. The fear of poverty will say, "You're not ready. You don't have enough proof." The ego, the I that is terrified of failing, will say, "You're not ready. You haven't figured out step 10. And so you will wait, protecting a readiness that never comes, while your life slips through your fingers. Let us be clear about what is happening. When that instruction arrives from infinite intelligence, that whisper we spoke of, that knowing, that is your signal, that is the divine impulse. It is not a suggestion to be debated. It is not an idea to be put on a shelf. It is a command to be obeyed. It is the act as if principle made manifest. The instruction is the cue. Your action is the response. And that instruction, that call, arrives with a short-lived gate. It is a spiritual window. It is a moment in time where all the forces of the universe have aligned for you, waiting on your motion. Those who understand this law, those who act as if, they act inside that gate. They move immediately. They may not understand step 2. They may not feel qualified. But they obey the signal for step 1, and by acting, they become instruments of power. But the drifter, the man who waits to feel ready, he hesitates, he negotiates, he asks for more signs. He says, I need more proof. I need to understand the whole plan. He stands at the gate and thinks. And while he is thinking, while he is getting ready, the window closes. This is not a punishment. This is physics. The law is that momentum is passed on to the one who moved. Infinite intelligence, as we established, does not wait on potential. It flows through availability. The man who waits for readiness has just declared to the universe, I am not available. I am too busy feeling my fear. And so the great river of power is diverted. It moves to the one who is available. It moves to the one who moved. And the drifter is left in his fog, wondering why his idea never worked, wondering why someone else built his vision. You must stop negotiating with your emotions. You must stop waiting for your circumstances to confirm your calling. Your circumstances are the result of your past thinking. They will never confirm a future calling. You are looking in the wrong direction. You must stop assuming that God will delay his plan until your insecurities are satisfied. He will not. The moment you receive the inner knowing that this is the time, that this is your message, that this is your opportunity, you are accountable. And the man who delays that accountability, who says, maybe later, who says, when I feel more confident, who says, when I have more proof, that man has already disqualified himself. Power flows to the ready, not the perfect. And readiness, as we have established, is not what you feel. It is what you decide. So I ask you, are you waiting for more signs? Are you holding back your voice because you fear being misunderstood? Are you withholding action because you haven't figured out step 5 when step 1 is still undone? Are you still asking for confirmation after being shown what to do again and again? If so, understand this. You do not lack clarity. You lack commitment to what is already clear. And clarity without commitment is torment. You will feel it every single morning. The knowing, the pull, the guilt, the ache. Not because you are cursed, but because you are chosen, and you are ignoring the call. Do not ask for the calling to come again. Act on the one that already came. The divine does not waste energy. It will not keep giving instruction to a mind that waits for emotional alignment first. This is the secret. This is the final key. You must act before you feel ready, because readiness, confidence, certainty, power, these are not the prerequisites for obedience. They are the rewards of obedience. The moment you say yes, without full understanding, without full preparation, without the feeling of readiness, that is the moment of your birth. That is when everything begins to align. That is when the resources you were waiting for begin to arrive. That is when the mastermind partners you needed get the sudden urge to call you. That is when confidence builds, not from thinking, but from motion. That is when power flows to your hands, because your hands are already moving. And the fear. The 6 ghosts that ruled you, they start falling away. Not because they disappear, but because they cannot keep up with your pace. Faith is not proven by stillness. Faith is proven by motion. So I say to you one final time in this chapter, do not wait until your hands stop shaking. Move while they are shaking. Do not wait until your voice feels steady. Speak while it trembles. Do not wait until you have all the answers. Act on the one answer you have, because the man who obeys in his fear will one day walk in such power that fear will no longer recognize him. Move first, and everything you thought you needed will begin to meet you on the path. That is the law. Your feeling of readiness is not the starting gun. Your decision is. Now, decide. There comes a moment in every life when the questions must stop. The begging, the wishing, the searching, the restless prayer that sounds like, when will someone help me? When will the way become clear? When will I be given the power? We have walked a great distance together on this journey. We have dissected the great human tragedy of the drifter. We have exposed him, held him up to the light, and seen his habits of indecision and fear. We have, perhaps, recognized him in our own mirror, but we did not stop there. We have replaced his tragic fog with an illuminating, undeniable truth that you are a vessel for infinite intelligence. We have learned the practical science of acting as if, the mechanism of autosuggestion to reprogram the mind, the sacred duty of protecting the gate, the strategy for defeating the 6 ghosts of fear, the amplified power of the master mind, the peace of the death of the I, and the immediate power of rejecting the lie of readiness. And now we stand at the end, but it is not an end, it is a beginning. It is the moment when the begging must stop, because the answer, though few are willing to hear it, is this. You were not meant to keep asking for the answer. You were meant to become the answer. You were not created to chase certainty. You were designed to embody it. You were not placed on this earth to wonder who will rise. You were placed here to rise yourself, so that others, watching you, remember that they can too. The man who began this journey as a drifter, tossed by the winds of circumstance, a slave to the 6 ghosts, a man who walked as if he were alone, that man is gone. He has been replaced. The questions have died, and the answer now lives. In the drifter's place stands a new man, the man who no longer drifts. Let us look at him. Let us understand who he has become. For this is the man you were born to be. This man does not just walk differently. He moves the air around him. He does not search for power. He is the presence of power. He does not wear power like a costume. He wears it like skin. It is natural. It is necessary. It is effortless. His confidence is not loud. It is not the boisterous, fragile noise of the ego, the I, that we have crucified. No, his confidence is calm. It is anchored. It is deep. It cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. And it cannot be explained to those who haven't tasted it. This is the paradox. The closer you come to the divine within, the less you need to declare it. This new man knows that he is a vessel for infinite intelligence. The drifter hoped it was true. This man lives it as a fact. He no longer begs for guidance. He expects it. He has protected the gate for so long that his mind is no longer a chaotic, crowded house. It is a clear, quiet temple. And in that temple, the whisper is no longer a whisper. It is a knowing. He does not doubt the instruction. He does not negotiate with it. He has rejected the lie of readiness. His only response to the instruction is obedience. His act as if principle has evolved. It is no longer an act. It has become his being. He is no longer acting like a man who is guided. He is the man who is guided. His thoughts, his habits, his very posture. They are the physical proof of his inner alignment. He does not try to be confident. He is confident, because confidence is the natural state of a man who is no longer at war with himself. And what of the 6 ghosts of fear? They still knock. The ghosts always knock. The world will always test the man who dares to leave the fog. but the man who no longer drifts has a new relationship with them. The fear of poverty can find no purchase, for this man knows he is aligned with the source of all supply. He does not hoard, he circulates. He knows that his wealth is not in his bank account. It is in his consciousness, his ideas, and his willingness to serve. The fear of criticism. This ghost simply dissolves in his presence. Why? Because the I is dead. The ego that received criticism, the fragile self that feared the opinions of other drifters, is gone. He is the servant of the source. He seeks expression, not validation. You cannot insult a man who is not seeking your applause. His silence has become his sermon. His decisions have become his doctrine. His walk has become his witness. The fear of ill health has been replaced by a deep knowing of the intelligent vitality that flows through him. He protects the gate of his body, not from a place of fear, but from a place of respect. Respect for the holy instrument he has been given to use. The fear of the loss of love. This, too, has vanished. For this man is no longer a beggar for love. He is the presence of love, of stability, of harmony. He knows he is never alone. He is aligned with the infinite, and he is a magnet for his master mind. He attracts what is aligned. He repels what is not. He no longer fears loss. He trusts the law. The fear of old age is a joke to him, for he knows he is not a body that is decaying. He is a consciousness that is expanding. Time is not his enemy. It is his tool. It is the canvas on which he paints his masterpiece. And the fear of death, that ghost cannot even enter the room. For a man who has touched the timeless, infinite mind within, how can he fear the end? He knows he is not the wave. He is the ocean. This is the man who no longer drifts. He does not search for his mastermind. He is the mastermind. He is the center of gravity. People feel it. They cannot define it, but they respect it. They are drawn to his calm. They are steadied by his certainty. They sense that his confidence does not come from preparation, but from possession. He is possessed not by fear, but by purpose. Not by performance, but by presence. So how does this man live? How does he walk? You must walk like this man. You've heard enough. You've waited long enough. You've hesitated long enough. Now, you must walk. You walk like the man who no longer apologizes for his pace. The drifter is always rushing in anxiety or stalling in indecision. The master moves with a deliberate pace. He is not lazy. He is certain. He does not chase anything. He knows that what is his will come to him because he is moving toward it. He walks until his fears learn his name and stop bothering him. You walk like the woman who no longer explains her yes or her no. Her decisions are not made by emotion or popularity. They are made by alignment. Her yes is a thunderclap. Her no is a mountain. There is no negotiation. You walk like someone who has burned the need for validation. You stop performing. You start becoming. You walk with eyes that no longer scan the room for comparison. You walk with a voice that no longer shakes when it speaks its truth. You walk with hands that are steady, not because they have never failed, but because they now move with divine purpose. This is not a sprint. This is not a moment of inspiration. It is a way of life. And every single step you take from this day forward will either confirm that God lives within you or betray it. You walk when it is hard. You walk when it is quiet. You walk when it feels like no one sees it, because you know with an unshakable certainty that the one who sent you still watches. And here is what will happen. People will ask, what changed? They will look at you, at the new weight in your silence, at the new calm in your eyes, at the new authority in your walk, and they will not understand, and you won't explain, because it wasn't a moment, it wasn't a conversation, it wasn't a technique, it was a return to who you were before the fear, before the forgetting, before the smallness, before the delay, a return to the one truth they could never take from you, that infinite intelligence lives in you, and that changes everything. So walk until the questions stop. Walk until the room shifts when you enter it. Walk until the doors you used to knock on simply open when you approach. Walk until your life, your results, your very presence becomes the loudest proof that something divine is moving through you. Walk until you no longer have to convince anyone. Because when a man carries the presence of God within him, when a man is no longer a drifter, when a man has become the answer, he is unmistakable. You have heard the truth. The journey of the man who no longer drifts begins now. It begins not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but with your next definite action. This message is the blueprint, but the building is up to you. If this blueprint has awakened the power within you, the sleeping giant, then your path is clear. Do not let this fire die. Do not let the fog of the drifter creep back in. Subscribe to this channel. Make this your declaration. This is not just a click. It is your first act of defiance against your old self. It is your commitment to surround yourself with this truth daily until it becomes the very air you breathe. Click subscribe, turn on your notifications, and join the mastermind we are building right here. Your new life is not a destination. It is a walk, and we will be here to walk with you every step of the way. The journey has just begun.